Hello students, today we are going to learn how to write chemical or the molecular formula of compounds formed from radicals which have the same valency, that is 2. So here is the second case where the valency of both acidic as well as the basic radicals is 2. Let's take the first example, calcium oxide. Just recalling on the 3 steps which are major steps required for writing any chemical formula. You first need to write the name of the radicals. Second step, you need to write the symbol and valency of the radical without putting the sign. Third, you interchange the valency, and finally you write the final formula. Let's take the first example, calcium oxide. Now calcium, in the compound calcium oxide, calcium is the basic radical and the acidic radical is oxide. Both calcium and the oxide radical, they both have valency 2. So in the second step, we write the symbol and valency. Calcium is symbol is Ca, its valency is 2. Oxide is O, its valency is also 2. In the third step, we interchange the valency. But before showing the interchange, we write the symbols as it is. We write Ca here and we write O here. Now we show the interchange. So interchange is done by crisscross method. The 2 which was in the superscript earlier now comes down here in the subscript of O. The 2 which was here in the superscript of O comes down here in the subscript of Ca. Since both calcium as well as the oxide radical, they both have the same valency and the valency is 2. So both the valencies, they get cancelled and they get cancelled with the same number which is 2. So we write 1 here and we write 1 here. And in the final answer, it becomes CaO. That means we do not need to put 1 now. So the formula becomes calcium. For calcium, it is capital C, small a and capital O. This is how we write the chemical formula of compound where both the radicals have valency of 2. Let's take the second example of magnesium carbonate. In the compound magnesium carbonate, the basic radical is magnesium and the acidic radical is a carbonate. The symbol of magnesium is Mg, its valency is 2. Carbonate is CO3, its valency is also 2. Now here you all need to note and make sure that you do the step in this way to avoid any sort of confusion. C and O are 2 different atoms and these 2 different atoms are actually forming the radical carbonate. So we put it in a bracket to make sure that we do not make any changes to the formula of the radical. The valency of the entire radical is 2, so we put 2 in the superscript. Now in the next step, we show the interchange by writing the same formula as it is. Mg as it is, CO3 again put it in a bracket. This 2 of magnesium in the superscript goes down here, comes down here after crisscross. This 2 comes down here below Mg. Again, we cut the 2 and 2 because both of them are divisible by the same number, that is 2, or we can say both of them have the same valency, so they can be cut down to the simplest whole number ratio, and we put a 1 here and we put a 1 here. In the final answer, what we get is the formula of magnesium carbonate, which is MgCO3, without putting 1. Now let us try solving the next example, that is of copper 2 sulfate. Now, just for your knowledge, children, you all should know that copper has 2 valencies, copper 1 and copper 2. Copper 1 written in Roman numerals basically means that the valency of copper is 1. Copper 2 means the valency of copper is 2. Copper 1 is also known as cuprous and copper 2 is also known as cupric. The lower valency is written with the OUS and the higher valency is written with an IC. Copper 2 is the higher valency, so the formula of copper 2 sulfate can also be written as cupric sulfate. Now let us try writing the formula of copper 2 sulfate. The first step is we need to write the names of the radicals. So the first radical present here is, we can straight away write it as copper 2. Instead of writing it as cupric, we can also write it as copper 2. So that you remember that copper 2 has valency 2. Acidic radical present here is a sulfate. So we write sulfate under the acidic radical. The symbol and valency. Next step is symbol and valency. Symbol of copper is capital C, small u. Its valency is 2. Since it is copper 2, so its valency is 2. Sulfate is SO4. As we did in the previous example, put it in a bracket because S and 4, this particular formula is having 2 different atoms. Since the radical sulfate has 2 different atoms, we put it in a bracket to avoid any confusion during crisscross. In the next step, we interchange the valency. So for showing interchange, we first need to write the symbol as it is, Cu as it is, and SO4 as it is. Put the whole in a bracket. Now show the interchange. To show the interchange, this 2 comes down here in the subscript of copper, Cu. This 2 comes down here in the subscript of SO4. Now please remember children, SO4 is one complete formula. You will not put the 2 along with this, you will put it below it. Now since both of them have the same valency and we always cut down the valencies to the simplest whole number ratio, so we cut both of them are divisible by 2, we put a 1 here and a 1 here. In the final answer, we do not need to put any 1 and we simply write Cu, C capital, U small, S capital, O capital and 4 in the subscript. So this is the formula of copper 2 sulfate. Let's take the next example. Similar example, iron 2 sulfide. Now iron 2, again iron 2 means the valency of iron is 2. And this is the lower valency of iron because iron has valency 2 and valency 3. So this is going to be also known as ferrous sulfide, PHIDE, sulfide. Now here the radicals present are, the basic radicals is iron 2 or also known as ferrous. The acidic radical present here is a sulfide. You should not get confuse it with sulfite or sulfate. That's totally different. This is a sulfide. So next step is we write the symbol in valency without the sign. So symbol of iron is Fe, F capital, E small. Its valency is 2. We write 2 in the superscript. Sulfide is known as S. Its valency is also 2 in the superscript. In the third step, we interchange the valency. To show the interchange, we write Fe as it is. We write S as it is. Now to show the interchange, this 2 which was the superscript comes down here in the subscript. This 2 which was in the superscript comes down here in the subscript. Again, we need to write it in the simplest whole number ratio. We cut 2 and 2 because both of them are divisible by 2. And the final answer, we do not write this one. And the formula becomes Fe, F capital, E small and S capital. This is the formula of iron 2 sulfide, FeS. Let's take now the last example and that is of zinc sulfite. Now we are taking the example of sulfite, PHITE. Now in zinc sulfide, the basic radical, we are again going to follow the same steps. First step, we write the symbol and the acidic and the basic radicals. So basic radical is zinc and the acidic radical present here is a sulfite, PHITE. The next step is you write the symbol and valency. Symbol of zinc is Z, capital N small. Its valency is 2. Sulfite is a S, capital O, capital 3 in the subscript. Put the whole in a bracket. Valency 2. Again repeating children, S and O both are in capitals. This is you can also say it's a polyatomic ion having more than one kind of atoms. So we put it in a bracket. In the next step, we interchange the valencies. So for showing interchange, we write Z capital N small, again S capital O capital 3 in the subscript. Put the whole in a bracket. Now you show the interchange. This 2 comes down here in the subscript. This 2 again comes down here, but it should be outside the bracket. Very important step. It should be outside the bracket. Now both 2 and 2 gets cancelled. Only the valencies get cancelled. Make sure you do not make any changes to the formula. And in the final answer, the formula becomes ZnSO3. This is the formula of zinc sulfide. I hope children, all of you have understood how to write the formulae of compounds which are formed from radicals where both of them have valency